بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق وسيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I'm very happy, not because we have reached the end of the course, but because actually I feel that we have taken a very nice and interesting journey in the world of the 18th century. And we have taken a lot about the rise of the novel, and we have understood many things about the nature of the novel in that age. And we have also taken a text that is quite rich in meanings. I feel very proud, I feel very happy. I only hope that you have also enjoyed the course and benefited by it. Let us round it off at the end and in lecture 14, inshallah. That was the last thing we had. They board the ship and he decides to go to Lisbon in order to seek information about his plantations in Brazil. We decided that Robinson Crusoe is a man interested in money, in wealth, in fame, in exploration, in materialism, in his own interests. When does he go back to England? That's a question. He goes back to England in the year 1686. Okay, I can give you many different years, but the right answer will be 1686. And that is why I have copied that slide from lecture number 13 as it is. When does he go back to England? In the year 1686. Okay. Which century was that? It was the 17th century. So I could say 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. The right answer is the 17th century. What is the most important thing that he is keen on as he returns to England? When he goes back to England, what is it that he focuses on more than anything else? Does he focus, for example, on his own family, on his own friend, the widow? No, he focuses on money. He focuses on money. He focuses on the plantations. So money, wealth, power. How long has he remained on the island? Is it 7 years? Is it 20 years? Is it 28 years? 28 years. See, the questions are so easy. Easy, I'm sure they are. Do you believe that the story is credible? That is to say, believable. Do you believe it? Do you think it is believable? Of course not, it is not. What does he decide to do after returning back, and why? What does he decide to do? Does he decide to stay in England? Does he decide to get married? Does he decide to look for the members of his family that are still alive? No. He decides to go back to Lisbon in Portugal in order to ask about his property in Brazil. Okay. Does he have the same family that he left before starting the main voyage? Does he still have his mother and brothers and father? No, it is different. Okay, so many questions, but they are easy. I find my wealth all about me. Now he feels the master of the universe. Like a colossus, he strides the whole world like a colossus. He arrives in Lisbon, in Lisbona, they call it in Arabic, in Portugal. Crusoe looks up his old friend and benefactor, the Portuguese captain, who helped him before to travel to Brazil, and who got jury from him, who first took him to Brazil. The Portuguese captain tells Crusoe that his Brazilian lands have been placed in trust and have been very profitable. They have produced a lot of money. They have spread and prospered and flourished, and they have produced a lot of profits. The captain is indebted to Crusoe for a large sum that he partially repays on the spot. He gives him money. Crusoe, moved by the captain's honesty, returns a portion of the money. He gives the captain back some of that money. Obtaining an authorized letter, Crusoe is able to transfer his Brazilian investments back into his own name. He becomes now, owner of all this wealth, and that is why the title of the chapter is I Find My Wealth All About Him. Isn't that the goal that he wanted to achieve from the very start? Yes, he wanted to become very rich and very powerful and very wealthy, and he now is in possession of all the money that he dreamed of. When Crusoe meets his Portuguese captain friend again, he is touched mainly, and the slide says that he is touched here. Crusoe is indebted. Crusoe is touched. Why is he touched? Is it because of the man's honesty? By the large amount of money he has now? By the beauty of the country? Or by his new family? Of course, the answer is the large amount of money he has now. That's surprising. That's what he dreamed of before. Sure enough, 10 seamen come in from the ship to discover the boat destroyed, leaving 3 in the second boat as watchmen. The other 7 come ashore. Crusoe then sends Friday and another to shout at the men from various directions, and Crusoe succeeds in confusing and tiring them so that they are finally separated. The men in the boat eventually come inland, and overwhelmed by Crusoe's stratagems. If there is any problem or any trouble between Crusoe and anyone else, even the whole world, be sure that Crusoe is going to win. He is superior. He is most powerful. He has solutions to anything. On behalf of Crusoe, the captain, finally addressing the remaining men, offers to spare everybody's life except that of the ringleader if they surrender. Now all the mutineers surrender. The captain makes up a story that the island is a royal colony and that the governor is preparing to execute the ringleader the next day. Don't worry about that. Crusoe sends gifts of money to his widow friend and to his 2 sisters. Notice, there is something different between sending money to your relatives and between visiting them, sitting among them, welcoming them, being nice to them, showing them that you love them. But he has spent 28 years away from the island, from his sisters, and he just sends money to them, tempted to move to Brazil. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about his family. Now he thinks of something else. What is the next step? What's the next movement? Brazil, where his plantation is, where his farms are. He decides against the idea because he's reluctant to become Catholic. Read that again. He finds himself willing to go to Brazil, but he decides automatically against the idea. He says, no, I'm not going to go to Brazil. Why? Because he is reluctant to become Catholic. He doesn't want to become Catholic. What's Catholic? One section, one part of one type of Christianity. He doesn't want to go to Brazil because all people in Brazil are Catholic, are religious, and he decides to stay in England. Do you understand? See the changes? Now he wants to go to Brazil, but when he thinks of Brazil as a place in which he can live, he says, oh no, I do not want to become Catholic. I do not want to be religious. I do not want to stay in an island in which everybody worships God. I want to be alone, to read from the Bible when I want to read from the Bible, to enjoy myself when I want to enjoy myself, to explore the island when I want to explore the island. But to remain Catholic all my lifetime, no. He resolves to return to England, but he is averse to traveling by sea. He wants to go to England, and he doesn't want to go to the sea. Conflicting, confusing thoughts. Naturally, an old man reaches wisdom and experience by age and experiments and experiences, but he is still oscillating, vacillating, hesitating. That is the age. Removing his baggage from 3 different ships at the last moment. He later learns that 2 of those ships are either taken by pirates or foundered. Crusoe decides to proceed on land, assembling a traveling group of Europeans and their servants. Robinson is reluctant to become Catholic from the other slide. Does that mean that he likes religion so much? He does not like religion. He wants to study medicine. He is an independent person. Of course, he doesn't like religion, and we are sad, we are unhappy to decide this. From the novel, we learn that religion does not have a very good place in the heart of Robinson Crusoe. There are still another 4 or 3 slides to go. Please bear with me. Crusoe and his group set out from Lisbon and reached the Spanish town Pamplona in late autumn. He leaves England, he leaves Portugal, they go to Spain, and Crusoe finds the cold almost unbearable. The snow is excessive, forcing the group to stay several weeks in Pamplona, that is to say Barcelona, if you have been to Barcelona. On November the 15th, they finally set out toward France, despite inclement weather. He is going back to England for some time. Friday, on the way back to England, they encounter 3 wolves. I would like you to think of this. It's very funny. On the way back, there are wolves, and wolves are fiercer and stronger and more savage than cannibals. 3 wolves, you know, and a bear, not just 3 wolves, but a bear as well in the woods. Friday kills a wolf. Automatically, he kills a wolf. How does he kill a wolf? We don't know. Where does he get that courage? He lived before 2 years in fear, and now he kills easily men and animals. He kills a wolf and drives away the others. Friday also amuses the group by teasing the bear before killing it. Not just killing, no, playing with the bear. That is Friday. This is the disciple. This is the student. This is the pupil of Robinson Crusoe. He has taught him to be that cold-blooded. Friday also amuses the group by teasing the bear before killing it. Proceeding onward, the group encounters a frightened horse without a rider. There is a horse, but there is no one on it, and then finds the remains of 2 men who have been devoured by wolves. 300 wolves soon surround Crusoe's group. There are now not 3 wolves, but 300 wolves. What is going to happen? No problem. 300 wolves, 500 wolves, lions, tigers, guns, cannibals, no problem. Airplanes, no problems. Tanks, no problems. Rebels, no problem. The group shoots the wolves. They shoot the wolves and frighten them. The group, that is to say, Robinson and Friday and his friends, his company, and the wolves run away. Arriving at last in Toulouse, France, Crusoe learns that his group's escape from the wolves was virtually miraculous. It was something miraculous, really. They encounter 3 wolves and a bear. This is the information from the last slide, which I want to comment on in the form of questions or statements. Exaggerated description. That's exaggerated. How can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people get rid of 300 wolves? What do you think of that? That's not normal. That's exaggerated. That's not credible. That's not something that can happen. There is no credibility in the novel. There is no verisimilitude in the novel. How could a single man do all this? Remember that he is not the same young man we met before at the start of the novel. Is he still a young man? Is he still 20 or 30 years old? Is he still powerful? We don't know that he is a sportsman. We don't know that he is a boxer. We don't know that he's a wrestler. We don't know that he is a muscular person who has muscles here and there so that he can kill wolves and cannibals and so on. He is a normal human being and an old man as well. You understand? Nevertheless, the writer is describing him as able to get rid of wolves. And finally, he revisits the island. He stays in England for a very short time. Crusoe lands safely at Dover in England. On January the 14th, he deposits his personal effects with his widow friend, who cares for him while Crusoe contemplates returning to Lisbon and going from there to Brazil, but he is once again dissuaded by religious concerns. He thinks again of going back to Brazil, but he decides against the idea. Why does he decide against the idea? Because of the same thing. In a few slides ago, we said that he wanted to go to Brazil, but he said no. Why? Because he doesn't want to be Christian. The same thought again, hesitation and vacillation. He decides to stay in England. But خلاص, we understand Robinson. He is not going to keep by that decision for long. He decides to stay in England, giving orders to sell his investments in Brazil. This sale earns George Crusoe the large fortune of such and such money. Crusoe is unattached to any family members and is used to a wandering life. Doesn't have a family, and he has spent most of his time alone exploring. So again, he thinks about what? Leaving England. So look at this, staying in England, and look at this, leaving England. Do you understand? Between staying and leaving, he hesitates, right? Though the widow does all she can to dissuade him, Crusoe marries. He gets married. In the interval, for some time in the novel, we suddenly know that he gets married. But after the death of his wife, so he marries, and in the same sentence, in the same chapter, on the same page, his wife dies after 4 or 5 years. It is not covered in the novel. It's a narrative gap. The writer doesn't go there. We learn that he gets married and that his wife dies. She doesn't die on the same week. She dies years later. But the writer has no desire to talk about the details of the marriage and the death. So he decides to head for the East Indies as a private tender in 1694 again. Remember the time, 1694. Not the 18th century, but not the 18th, but the 17th. On the voyage, he revisits his island. Crusoe finds that the Spaniards who remained there subjugated the mutineers. The island now has people. It is prosperous. It is successful. Crusoe provides them with gifts of cattle and supplies, and even women. The colony has survived a cannibal invasion and is now prospering. A very successful island. My question at last is this: are you touched by the story of friendship between Crusoe and the widow? He mentions that there is a widow, a woman who does not have a husband and who has very nice feelings towards Robinson. She doesn't love him. They are not in love. He is incapable of love, actually. He doesn't love anybody. I'm asking, do you think that this story is touching? Do you feel it? Do you like it? Of course not. He doesn't even have feelings towards his father. How can he have feelings towards that widow? Is he a better person in terms of religion after reading the Bible for many times in the novel and telling us, oh, I cried, I prayed to God, etc., and he read from the Bible? Is he a better person? Of course not. He's not better. When he gets married, we soon learn that his wife dies, right? What does that mean? Do you understand? Think about this. It means that the marriage and the death are not important for him. It also means that the writer is not a skillful writer. He should cover this point, these 2 points in the novel. He should give them the right justification, the right depiction, so we can understand, so we can have a better idea. But no, he doesn't. He leaves England in the same century, as I said, in the year 1690 something. Why is that? It's because the writer, from the very beginning to the very end, doesn't want us to know that this is England in the 18th century. He wants to escape from censorship. He doesn't want us to relate the novel to the then current conditions in England. Imagine his feelings upon returning to the island and finding everything to his satisfaction. Of course, this is the most important thing in life for him, to feel that he is master of the universe. This is his own island. It is populated, it is successful, it is full of wealth and of people. This is the enterprise. This is the project of the novel. This is what Daniel Defoe wanted to describe for us, an example of young men from the 18th century at the time of the rise of the novel, young men who wanted to achieve themselves as individuals, who wanted to have money, who wanted to have to explore the new parts of the world. Young writers like Daniel Defoe, new writers of novels like Daniel Defoe, who were careful to write about the colonies and to give readers in England interesting pictures about exotic lands and unfamiliar places. It's a novel that has lots of interesting things and lots of weaknesses, and the most important element that we discussed in the later sections of the novel is colonialism. As I said at the beginning of this lecture, I feel very proud, I feel very happy that I have managed with you, of course, to cover all these aspects of the novel. It has been a very rich course. We learned a lot. Go back to the lectures again and to the PowerPoint presentations. Concentrate on the questions. Try to read parts of the novel every now and then. The questions that sample questions that you have in the PowerPoint presentations are the questions that you might encounter in the exam. I will try as far as possible to make the questions as easy as the ones that you found in the PowerPoint presentations. Thanks very much for giving me this chance, and until we meet again on another occasion, or on the phone, or in the office hours, have the best of luck and the best of times. Thanks very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I would like also to thank Mr. Fadil, the technician of the lab, who has been quite patient and perseverant with me during all these 15 lectures. Thank you very much, Mr. Fadil. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.